Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of That Range Life, a show sometimes about golf. Bill, before we get started, big news. I haven't shared this with you. You don't know this, but we have a new partner, new sponsor.
Oh, nice.
I'm very excited about this one. It's a good one. Now, here's the thing, though. They're very particular about the script for the ad read. Okay, so let me get through this whole thing, and then you can discuss.
All right. Do we need to give any lead-in buffer or exit buffer in case you need to cut it or anything?
No, it's fine. All right. So
3, 2.
Right. So if you know me, and I feel like you know me, Bill, you know that I am obsessed with baseball caps. And it all started way back in 1993 when I got my first job in high school at a sports apparel store. Best job I ever had. It just so happens that that is the same year that New Era became the exclusive provider of caps to Major League Baseball. I'm wearing one right now as we speak. With every paycheck, Bill, I would add an MLB New Era cap to my collection. And it wasn't long before I had every team's cap hanging on my bedroom wall. It was beautiful. So fast forward to today, New Era has expanded way beyond just the MLB and offers more than just caps. In fact, New Era Cap is the official headwear provider of the MLB, the NFL, and the NBA. Plus, now you can get all kinds of apparel, not just caps, for practically any team from nearly every sport. My personal favorite, and you'll know this if you watched our videos, and the one that gets the most attention on the golf course is my New Era reversible Chicago Cubs bucket hat. It's made for the golf course, fits perfectly, and most importantly, it looks awesome. Now, if bucket hats aren't your thing, don't worry, I guarantee, and so does Bill, New Era has a style, design, and most likely the team you are looking for. You can shop the official headwear and get 15% off when you go to neweracap.com/thatrangelife and use code thatrangelife at checkout. That's 15% off your entire order using promo code thatrangelife. Some exclusions may apply. How about that?
Say the website one more time. Where am I going to use that code?
We're going to go to neweracap.com.
neweracap.com. Use the code thatrangelife.
Get 15% off. It's that easy. You're going to buy a hat. We're all going to buy hats.
New hats, especially the older you get.
Why not get 15% off?
The sloppier that hair gets and starts going away. You need to cover it up maybe after.
Right. Tell me about it.
Go check it out. While we're talking about our partners, shout out to Bridgestone Golf real quick.
Yes, for sure.
Make sure you use a Bridgestone golf ball. I played in an outing last month at this point, and we went into a 3-team playoff. We shouldn't have even been there. We should have won the thing outright. We lipped out. I lipped out personally 3 birdie putts. Another guy in my group lipped out 3, and another guy lipped out 2. So that just tells you something. Either way, I digress. My job on the team was long ball hitting. I was the long ball guy.
Right.
And
right.
And I had a good enough team where that's really all I had to do. I have not swung a golf club this hard in my life, or in the last 15 years of my life. I swear to God, I was so sore the next day, like in my legs and my forearms. And it wasn't even not even a joke. It just hurt so much from the force I was putting into it. I had 2 drives over 350 yards. I had somewhere in the 6-ish range over 330. And these are the ones that were in play.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And it's just all I had to do. Just, I'm a hockey player. I'm playing golf today. That's what it was. It was great. But I have to tell you, that Bridgestone Tour BX was an absolute legend. And I've played a couple times since. And you're like, just random ball, use it. Not the same. That control I have, that distance off the tee. It's just not as good. You've heard that out of us a million times, but I can't emphasize it enough. I legitimately think these guys are making the best golf ball in the game.
Here.
That's objective, not subjective.
Correct.
Best golf ball in the game. So go check them out. Go pick some up.
It's factual.
But speaking of this golf ball, the best golf ball in the game, I saw John Boy Media post. Well, actually, We Got Ice of the John Boy Media family posed this question on the internet today, and I thought it was a pretty good one. What, in your mind, is the best ball?
In general?
Yeah. Is it a baseball, a bowling ball, a basketball, etc.?
The baseball. Baseball is the best ball.
I think I agree with that. I think the tennis ball is very, very good, especially like a nice fresh can with the tennis ball smell. And it's
too light. It's too light.
It's a versatile ball for shenanigans. I don't know. You guys play that butts up on the playground, or I don't know. Everybody called it different, but where like you got so many letters, and when you got to butts up, you had to go stand against the wall, and everybody pegged you with the tennis ball.
I've never heard of that game.
I've
awesome. Never heard of that. Yeah.
Perhaps we'll make a video.
I mean, we'd play fast pitch with a tennis ball, off a garage or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
But I feel like just the diameter and the weight and the feel of a baseball is just perfect.
So I'm not surprised we both agree on this. I totally agree with you. God, there's nothing better than like a fresh baseball that maybe is like seeing one ground ball.
Right.
Just that. So good. I love
it. Yeah. And you talk about the smell. Baseball. The smell of a baseball is like Americana.
Yeah. It's
like
the
perfect.
best. I do want to say though, honorable mention, the racquetball. I remember being like I don't know what it was. I had a little kid, 6, 7 years old, just the smaller, perfect bounce. There's something about the sound. Man, the racquetball is a great ball. Great. And
you can throw that thing 120 miles an hour and just kill somebody with it. And it's amazing. Yeah. Which I can tell you many a times. Shout out to the basketball though. Basketball is pretty great.
Yeah.
I don't want to dismiss the basketball.
Or do you remember? So you mentioned earlier your first high school job, 93. Our ages are a little different here, but that early 90s, like the street balls from Pizza Hut.
Yeah, for sure.
They were awesome. They were so good. I mean, it's not as good as a leather, real deal NBA basketball by any means, but shout out the Pizza Hut street ball.
Speaking of basketball, do you have I assume you do because you have everything in that garage of yours, like a basketball inflating device? You have some sort of pump?
An air pump? Yeah. I mean, we do have bicycles, soccer balls. So yeah, we do have a pump because it's not just for basketball. We have a good reason to use one.
Well, you may have a pump, but some people don't have the needle that you need to use. But if you have soccer balls, then you have the needle.
Well, naturally, we at some point in time, for that reason, like I ordered some off Amazon, so I have like 20 of them, and they disappear quickly. But I do have them. Yeah. So if you need something pumped up, I got you.
I do. I have a basketball. In fact, coincidentally enough, it's a Pearl Jam basketball from the tour that I need to inflate so that I may display it here.
I forgot about that.
It's going to go right between those frames and right above the band.
I was going to say, leave it to you to decide. You're like, at my age, I'm going to start shooting hoops again. Just go down to the park and shoot some hoops. I forgot about the Pearl Jam basketball. Yeah. Yeah, there's a Pearl Jam basketball. That's
I will tell you, though, that we are moments away, probably later in the year, once we're done traveling and things over the winter, of becoming pickleballers. The wife and I are exploring our options from a pickleball perspective. So
why not? I feel like everybody else is. You might as well just dive in when you have to.
Right. So we'll see how that goes.
Maybe that'll enter the best ball conversation.
It could, yeah. I mean, we're looking for something. So the sort of criteria is, we're empty nesters essentially, right? We after 5, 6 o'clock, we don't have a lot to do. So I would like to be, I'm a competitive, sporty guy. I would like to do something like that. She needs something that's social and kind of not super athletic and it's going to beat you up or anything. So we feel like maybe pickleball might be that happy medium where we have a club right down the street from us with a bar and courts. So it's kind of like,
go check
that out.
Fastest growing phenomenon in the world for a reason. It's worth checking out.
They're adding 8 courts down at Grant Park. 8. There's already 10, I think.
Oh, I didn't know there was
keep on
any.
adding them.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Over at Maggie Daly and Grant Park have a ton of them.
So what's going to happen though when that bubble eventually bursts and they go, well, we have 7,000. Well, it's the city of Chicago. They'll go, oh, we need to pay somebody a massive amount of money.
Right.
Come rip these out now.
Right.
Hit you with the taxes and So
right.
Never mind.
Yeah.
That was a dumb question. Silly me.
Right. Yeah.
Ryder Cup.
Yeah. Let's talk Ryder Cup, man. Let's talk Ryder Cup.
I watched some.
Well, I watched most of Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I think.
I watched most of Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Oh, you mean you didn't watch Thursday and Monday? All right.
Well, there was no Thursday, but like Friday, I missed the early, wave. I missed that first wave and then caught up. And then
I wasn't
Saturday
waking
and
up
Sunday,
at 1, 2, 3 in the morning for it. I just wasn't.
I mean, not on purpose. Saturday and Sunday, I woke up at like 3 probably in the morning both days. And I was like, well, why not?
I
Put on the telly, put the coffee on.
Let's go. 5. And it was funny. I'm like, this isn't so bad. I'm a grown up. I can handle this, man. Like 3 in the afternoon, I was saying to my wife, I was like, I might die. This was a bad
Well, yeah. I could take a nap after it's over. Like, okay, that's cool. It's noon. Yeah, I think I'll lay down, take a nap here, catch up on a little bit of sleep, and then wake back up for a baseball game or for football, whatever it may be.
Right.
So it worked out okay. I will say so I kind of got the flavor of what was going on Twitter from others. I don't know if you were involved in that thing, if you watched it unfold on Twitter, but like Hatgate apparently was a thing. Were you aware of this?
Yeah.
And it worked its way like into the zeitgeist. Like it worked into its way into real life. Like golf Twitter made that a thing.
Yep.
Off of one unconfirmed source. Like, I don't know if that's good or if that's terrible. I tend to think in the big picture of things, it's golf Twitter to a T. It's perfect. It's like the sweet spot of golf Twitter where it's like this dumb little thing. Dude's not wearing a hat.
Yeah.
And someone says something on Twitter, like a source, and off it goes, and just off like wildfire.
It's funny how much, in reading various golf media outlets and how even the places who have thrived off of golf Twitter are like, well, this one thing was going around Twitter and is actually kind of right. So, it's painful to admit that because of how much of a hellscape golf Twitter is. And it's like,
right. Was it confirmed? Was that a confirmed? I mean, I know, I know Cantley said it's ridiculous.
He did. And then they said the truth came out. I think less than 24 hours after the end of the thing, he got married in Rome. And so he's like, I didn't want golfer tan.
And to me, that makes sense. I think everybody, if he would have just come out and said that, like, I didn't want a tan line on my forehead, like, well, yeah, of course. Then don't wear the hat. But he never said that.
Jesus Christ. It's like, who cares?
Well, that's the other thing. Like, well, I have, there's a lot of stuff. Like, let's take any other sort of aspect of life and do what happened to Cantley. I can't believe I'm going to try to defend Cantley, but there was a Twitter source. This is not real. Like, Twitter sources aren't real, you guys. Like, what are you talking about?
Go back to like grade school when you start learning about bibliographies, and then middle school they start teaching about works cited pages.
Right.
And especially for me, the internet starts becoming a thing like, no, you can't just cite whatever random thing you find on the internet. You need to like, these are what are considered credible sources.
Right. I had my first day in like English. I mean, freshman year of English in college. The internet was brand new, right? Because I'm a billion years old.
Mm-hmm.
And the professor pulled up a website, and on the website it said, John F. Kennedy was killed in Dallas, Texas in 1976. And he's like, this is the internet. That was like that was the whole thing, was like, you can't, this is on the internet. It's not true. Like, and from that point on, skepticism was the way of life on the internet, man. And I don't know. I don't like it. I'm glad I'm not on there. It was a much more enjoyable experience to be blissfully unaware of any takes about anything related to Ryder Cup.
You didn't get Joe LaCava roaried to death if you weren't all over golf internet.
Yeah, so that one did make its way to Threads, which I am on. It also made its way to Instagram, clearly. I think I saw it on Facebook. I mean, that thing kind of jumped the shark, right? And just was everywhere. Not jumped the shark, but it just kind of like was everywhere. But at least there was video.
Yeah.
There was real, tangible events that I could see, and I could, discuss and kind of pick apart and be like, oh, that's kind of crazy. And then there was more video of LaCava doing whatever the hat thing was or whatever. And like, also dumb, but at least there was visual evidence of such a thing.
Yeah.
I
wonder if that was a New Era cap.
That's a good question. Probably not. I don't know if they're the official provider of Ryder Cup hats, but yeah, I enjoyed the Ryder Cup in general. There was a fun group chat with my brother Mark and Riv. The Riv is still alive, and they're both big Team America guys, and of course, I root for whoever I like, and in this case, I like the European players more than I like the American players, so I was Team Euro.
Yeah, right.
And I made the point of like, how can you ever, in any circumstance, root against Victor Hovland? Ever?
How many okay, cool replies did you put in that group text? Okay, cool.
I don't think I did any. I think Mark was probably the more like, of course you're your Team Europe. Of course. He got all angry about it. But that's what I said. Like, dude, Team Hovland, man. I'll follow that guy to the ends of the earth. Love the man. He's the best. God bless him. I'm so happy for him.
He's officially my new favorite. That's it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look at that team. That team is a riot. That team is awesome. All those dudes in that team.
We're not talking about like even quality of player, and they're all good quality players.
Of course.
The characters are a trip.
The personalities are just unparalleled. They're fantastic.
The whole basis of the interview at this point, but where Brooks was like saying stuff about Rahm, and then Rahm's like, look, I'm not an example. And where, neither of us talking about Hatton are probably the best example of Hatton's like, I'm just watching TV. Like, why are you bringing me into this? Like, God, you guys are the best. Absolute best.
Yeah, they are. They really, really are. And I will say this too. And you can put your comments in the chat if you'd like, if you'd want to argue about this. And I know like they got their asses handed to them, Whistling Straits, whatever. But that European team, they just care more about this event.
Yeah.
That's what I took away. I think they just care more, period.
Well,
I think they care more when they lose. I think they care more when they win. I think that the American culture in the world of golf is not team-centric.
No.
At all.
We still have football, and baseball to turn to. And I know over there, right, they have their football and all their different things, but I feel like where it sits and like patriotic prioritization of teamsmanship. Right. It's just not right.
There. And I don't even think it's European, right? So there's some, patriotism there with the Euros, but I just think that they like being part of a team and really want to win for their guys, for their other teammates, more so than the US team. I think you could put that same group of guys and call it team, I don't know, something else, not country based or continent based, but just like team B. They'd be like, okay, I'm going to live and die for these guys now. And then meanwhile, the US would be team A, and they'd be like, well, I did my part. Now I'm going to go home to my Jupiter mansion and, whatever. I just don't think that they put an emphasis, and I don't know if you can change that. Honestly, it's ingrained in the American version of that sport.
Funny you say that way. In true me fashion, I can't really cite the examples that great, and I don't know how deep we need to dive into it, but I read this article. I think either the day after or today. It's all a blur. That's welcome to my life. It was basically saying like the Ryder Cup's pretty broken, and everyone needs to just get used to the home teams at this point are probably it's just gonna be a lot of blowouts, and the days the like 14 to 14 and a half
right
death matches are probably too far gone, and they're like, is it the course setup at this stage in the evolution of the game? Probably not. These guys are all playing all over the world on such a regular basis and different types of conditions. Like setting up the courses that different isn't going to play this major impact. Then it got into, much like you were saying, how the American players view it versus how the European players view it. And just the big takeaway where they're saying like the Ryder Cup is very, very, very broken. The best way to fix it would be like, what do? Go to a neutral setting like Argentina, Russia? No, that's not going to work.
Right. Australia. That's interesting. I wonder, I wouldn't call it broken. How long ago was Medina?
21 years. 21 years, 11 years. Same thing.
I was just saying,
it's 2012.
It was. Okay. So, it wasn't that long ago where the European team came back from the dead to win that thing.
Yeah.
They're only playing once every 2 years. So that's what, 4 Ryder Cups ago, 5 Ryder Cups ago?
The big cited point was the fan influence and just how much when you're the visiting team, you're going to be severely outnumbered fan wise.
Okay.
And there's nothing on a day-to-day basis they can do to replicate what happens in the vitriol that comes their way.
Right.
Not like, you said something mean to me, just the distraction of it all.
It's not normal. Yeah. Right. For a golf tournament. I get that.
Right. And then they went on to explain how but when that fandom flips and it's in your favor, it can be very motivating.
Sure.
Which I feel like as you're hearing us say this, no kidding. Well, yeah, no kidding on the motivating side. And it can also, I would say for schmucks like you and me, that could get in our head and actually be a detriment to us if there were a billion people there screaming and yelling for us. But when you're that good at the craft, it comes around and gives you confidence pretty quick.
Sure.
So
you've got 18 to 21 year olds playing in stadiums that are filled with 100,000 psychos.
Right.
Right. They've been doing that. They're essentially their entire teens. So by the time they get to the NFL, 60,000 people, 70,000 people screaming isn't that big a deal. You've seen the crowds at amateur events in golf when it's, parents.
Right.
It's not that big a deal. I would imagine, and it's one thing to play, yes, in front of a gallery at an event. Very nerve-wracking. I get that. But you're right. It's not the Ryder Cup. It is not.
Even a Tiger gallery isn't what the Ryder Cup galleries are today.
Right. If anything, the Ryder Cup galleries, if they are the equivalent of the Tiger galleries, but it's everywhere all the time. It's not just one group. You know what I mean? Like you get roars all over the course in a Ryder Cup because there's just people everywhere watching every shot. And I'm sure that's much more intense. Now, I wouldn't necessarily jump to the whole it's broken thing. I think that's probably a reaction to the last 2 Ryder Cups where they were blowouts.
I would say if you're I feel like they kind of said this in the article. If you're in the industry and you're the Golf Digest guy has to write about it. I do think there ends up being like, all right, I got to make something of all of this for my job. But I think for the 3 to 5 days every 2 years for us, yeah, whatever. It's a change of pace. It's fun. Like that's where I got to let's define what broken means. And
broken how, right.
Right. And I think he sort of conceded, if memory serves, in the article, like, look, people are still going to come spend a ton of money on this. The European tour is still going to rely on it to keep it afloat, and it will do so. Right. So from their perspective, what it would take to make such a change to start like making it a little more even and balance out a little bit, there's no need for them to do it. They're not going to. So
I agree. Yeah. And I think home country advantage should be a thing. I don't think it's definitely not necessarily negative. Like, yeah, if you're hosting, you should win. You should win by a lot. You've got the crowd behind you and you should. And when you have something like Medina happen, that's why people still reference it and we'll talk about it forever. That was incredible.
It was
just incredible. And I think the older that event and that moment gets of Ian Poulter sinking that putt and seeing that video and seeing that shot is like, I still can't believe that happened. Still cannot believe that happened. Just incredible. Anyways, I was entertained for the most part. I thought we adopted. So I was in Michigan for our little Ryder Cup event the weekend before. And we sort of adopted the Sunday, like everybody plays head to head. So it can go either way, regardless almost of the scoring going into the last day. We did that too. And it makes it a whole lot more interesting, just a whole lot more interesting because for a minute, maybe you thought there might be a chance, like maybe the US could pull a Medina in Rome. But I think once, can't remember who won the 14th point. Whenever they needed just a half a point, I was like, oh, well, there's no way. Someone's going to push. Someone somewhere is going to push. Doesn't matter. And so but I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
And now it can go away for 2 years and we can complain and make up stuff on Twitter, about
absolutely.
other things.
How good.
And the other thing too, that really bothered me, just to circle back on that real quick, is that Cantley is such an easy mark. You know what I mean? Like it's just lazy. It's just a lazy rumor. Like, pick the guy that nobody in the public really will support. Yeah. And just make this thing up. And I will say, I do believe it was made up. I don't care who started the rumor, from what, media organization, if you want to call it that, or well-known, whatever. I don't care who it was. I'm not going to believe it unless Cantley's like, or someone publicly goes on the record to, validate it.
I have to imagine there was significant noting of, Rory didn't wear one, doesn't wear them so often. Right. No, he did this year though.
He didn't He didn't last time though. He didn't.
They fixed his hats this time around.
Right.
And I know Graham McDowell used to not wear one. Westwood wouldn't wear one, and I'm talking about Europeans here, but people not wearing hats at the Ryder Cup is not an unfounded thing.
It's not a thing. And if the U.S. didn't get the doors blown off them Friday and play like garbage, it wouldn't have been a story. No one's talking about it. It was just this stupid, lazy thing. That's my opinion of it, that people wanted to make an issue of because they played so bad. Like, you know what? We have a fractured locker room. Like every team in every league anywhere has a fractured locker room. There are cliques everywhere. Little babies, grow up. God. But that's what I mean. Like the American team, they haven't functioned as a team. They just, I don't think they played enough team sports. I don't know, man. If you've been in a locker room for 10 minutes, you go, oh, well, there's that group and there's that group and there's that group. It doesn't mean it's fractured. It just means like there's that guy sitting by himself on his phone. Like that's a locker room, man. Like, what are you talking about? It's just ridiculous.
What's going to be the savior for team golf? I mean, we have the proposal, the framework or whatever in place. PGA versus Live. Let's be honest. It's coming.
You know what?
We know it's coming.
It's got to, right? It's got to.
Yeah.
It's got to. Yeah. I would imagine that's going to happen soon.
And that'll, be a good 20 years of acting like that matters. Oh, all the billionaires are playing golf against each other. Right. Okay, cool.
Right. But they'll get paid. So then everyone will wear a hat because that's how that's how you make your voice heard about being paid, is that you don't wear a hat.
That's how you do it. Hey,
that's right.
How beautiful.
How many protests throughout history have been sans hat? Like, oh, he's not wearing a hat. Like George Washington took his hat off. Watch out.
I think
he's going to overthrow the government.
I think that's how Protestants got their start, right? They win. George Luther nailed the thing up and it's like, I'm not wearing this hat.
Yep, exactly right.
That's right.
That's exactly how that went down.
How 100%. Beautiful.
I didn't see Jesus in a hat. Everybody ever see Jesus in a hat? Goddamn right. He was protesting all the time, man.
He wore a crown of thorns. So not a hat.
Right.
How beautiful is that piece of property?
The golf course?
Yeah.
Yeah. God, yes. Yes. I was trying to figure out where it was within, because it's kind of funny, like you've been overseas and like the suburbs aren't really a thing. You know what I mean?
Like what you mean.
You've got villages or neighborhoods or things like that, but like you have Rome and it's Rome, right? But then outside of Rome is just like nothingness. It's just fields, like there's not. So I was trying to figure out like where, and there was a lot of houses there necessarily, but I was like, God, I wonder where that is.
Did you notice there were like a couple pockets of houses, and I'm like,
for sure.
To that point, this looks like it's relatively in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So like, who lives in those houses? And I imagine there's some super rich people, and they don't have to be anywhere. But I'm like, kids that got to go to school, and I'm sure some kids who live there that have to go to school live there. What a weird life.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, awesome golf course. I thought it was a great match play golf course. Max Homa made it more interesting than he had to on Sunday in his match. Who was he playing against? I can't remember now. Whoever he was up against on Sunday hit the ball into the water on.
He was against Fleetwood, wasn't he?
Was it Fleetwood? Yeah. No, Fleetwood was up against Ricky. Yeah.
How dare Ricky concede?
Was it maybe it's Fitzpatrick? Maybe it was against Fitzpatrick.
I think that sounds right.
Yeah, I think Fitzpatrick went into the water. And Max is up 2, I think, at that point, maybe 1. And there's 2 holes to go, 3 holes to go, whatever it was. And Max pulls driver. Like, dude, what are you doing? Lay that thing up, man. Play for par. Like, what are you doing? And sure enough, what do you do? Hit it into the water like a dummy. So it had to come down to a par putt on 18 for him to, extend the Ryder Cup one more hole or one more match, I think it was. And also, we should talk about this because he's our guy. Speaking of Ricky Fowler, conceding that putt.
I have no issue with it. I know that's
really
the hot.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me? To win the whole thing.
Because
that's a 5-footer.
He had two putts, I think, to make it.
Don't care.
To win.
Putt it.
Yeah, I didn't care.
Putt it.
Put
that ball in the bottom of the cup. I'm not conceding. No way, dude.
No, we're not. We're not. I know this, but like the issue.
You just said you had no problem with it. So the next time we have a match and I've got 2 putts to win, you're just going to give it to me. That's the rule?
No, it's if though you were on my team and you did that in your match, I'd be like, okay, I get it.
Yeah, man.
And I know if I did it, and even if you had 4 putts to do it in, I'd just rest assured.
Oh,
take your belt off later.
100%.
Sorry, I know this. $3 that everybody's playing for here is really important. Yeah, it's more money than those guys got for winning, huh?
Yeah, suckers playing for free.
Take your hats off,
losers,
idiots. Did you see that clip going around of like after it's all done and during the interviews, and Victor Hovland might be a little starting to get a little toasty, and
Sure.
he's just like laughing hysterically.
No.
Oh, I'll have to find it for you, but it's like this like crazy weaselly clown laugh, and he just can't control it. And go, this is it. This is why he's the guy. He's just
I love him so much.
A little kid.
I love him so much.
So much.
Every picture too. He's with all the wives in one picture, and another picture he's eating pizza, getting the leg treatment. Like,
did you?
God bless that kid.
Did you like in that? You probably didn't see this too. Where I think I actually saw this on Reddit, not on Twitter. The famous wives picture. They're like, oh, taking a page out of Ricky's book. Ricky's book. I don't think so. Ricky, when he did it, it was much more organic. But I'm like, oh my god,
really?
Jesus,
of course,
Christ.
Of course. Oh god, that's so perfect. I love it so much.
It was very funny. I love
it so much.
What's he supposed to be like? Hang on, this is unoriginal because Ricky Fowler did something similar.
Right.
God, of all the.
God, it's the best.
Golf
Our sport is the best.
All the things you can get worked up about, and they pick literally all the most useless things.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Just the dumbest stuff. Just the dumbest.
You got blood money fueling the sport, but we're going to get upset that Victor Hovland and is with an assistant vice captain with his arm around him while all the husbands and wives are kissing. Oh, jeez.
I love it so much.
So much.
I love our sport, and I love the coverage it gets, and I love the people that follow it.
Yeah.
Period.
Me too. Should play some golf together soon, huh?
Yeah, we got to talk about that.
Got a big match. Got a big match ahead of us.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. That's all I can say right now.
That's right.
All right. Anything else you want to cover? You got to plug anything?
No, I guess I did a what's in the box. I beat you to it. We both got the same equipment.
Yeah.
But I got to use, I was so excited because I got to use this thing with the new camera.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I did it like immediately. I'm like, oh yeah, I get to play with this thing. Which this thing is fantastic, by the way.
Humble brag over here. Humble brag. Big time media guy.
So you can check that out. And I actually recorded a podcast with my old pals, Darren and Mitch. We fired up the old Talking Golf Getaways to talk about our Sand Valley experience. So you can keep an eye out for that. That's probably going to drop in the next 5 to 7 days, I'm guessing.
And they're in their feed?
Yeah.
That's exciting.
That's their podcast, not mine.
But I didn't know like to their degree of shutting it down and whatnot. I love the old well, hey, where'd this come from? Why'd it show up, in my feed? I love that. I love when guys do that.
That's like their new strategy is like, let's just do it whenever we feel like doing it. And then, so yeah, that's,
I don't know why anybody would do it that way.
Right. But they don't have the guilt that I have. I have like this.
Yeah. You call it guilt.
Internal
I call it
guilt.
You're a crazy person.
I know, but
you're like, no, that bubble's up. Like, I'm mad about this. We got to do something.
When are we going to do a show? God damn it.
Yeah. So sorry. My fault.
Yeah. When we do another show in November, I assume that's when our next show will be. We should probably just do
December at this
We should probably just do our 2024, what are they called? Resolutions right off the bat. So, we can try to get back on track here.
We're doing our New Year's resolutions on December 3rd this year.
Because we know starting now.
We know who we are. All right.
Right.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I can't.
What about you? You got anything? You got some plugs? You got stuff? You must have some stuff.
Yeah, actually, John Heisey, by the time this is out, over on driverangeheroes.com, we'll have a review on the brand new graphite design Tour AD VF golf shaft, which I think comes out the following week as this show comes out. So check that out. You probably aren't seeing too much of that around the internet yet. Not a big deal. And then wrapped up Tour Edge reviews for the Metalwoods on the year. So naturally, I thought, hey, let's give people a little A/B walkthrough of all the 723 woods. So if you're interested on how they all stacked up against each other for me, I'm waiting for people to be like, "Oh, this doesn't count. You're not a robot." And I know, I'm not a robot. I'm giving you my experience.
That's the point, right?
So go check that out if you want to learn a little bit about them.
Is the 723 is that 3-wood the 723 that you gave me you quote unquote gave me that I kind of took and kept?
Yeah.
Yeah. That thing got a lot of attention last weekend. Lots of attention.
It's a good thing I didn't take it that time we were golfing together. I said, "Hey, can you bring it so I can get that back? I got some things I want to tinker with," and then I forgot.
Now you can have it back.
Well,
it served its purpose.
You turned the heads you needed to turn. Yeah.
That's right.
My 3-wood game is going to get a lot of attention this off season because not to golf nerd as we're trying to get out of the show here. That was the 3-wood and the value it can have in my game was neglected for far too long, and the value it adds for me was realized this year. So I have some 3-wood work to figure out and dial in this off season. I'm not going to, but that's the idea.
Right.
Resolution
number one.
It'll be at X Golf with you at 11 o'clock at night going, "Oh, that was pretty good."
Right. Nice.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Go down below, subscribe, tell a friend, like the thing. You do all the YouTube stuff. You know how
subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow Bill at Range Heroes. Check out his stuff at drivingrangeheroes.com. Follow me at Kris McEwen. And we will talk to you. We're going to do a show next week. We got to do a show next week.
Yeah, we should. I like the sounds of that.
Yeah. All right. Let's do a show next week. All right. Until next week, ladies and gentlemen. Good night.
Bye, everyone.